This is the SteelSeries Apex 9, a keyboard which SteelSeries say is the fastest optical keyboard on the market. This might actually help you finally get out of silver. The Apex 9 also features adjustable actuation points, swappable optical switches and an aluminium top plate. But are these additions and features a match against standard mechanical keyboards? Is this going to be as good as my favourite gaming keyboard, the HyperX Origin 60? I've given this keyboard a thorough play and type test, with it being the main keyboard I've used for the past week. I'll be able to let you know how it feels to play games with, to type on, rubbing against your face, and if this is a quality product that is worth spending your money on. This keyboard comes in two sizes, the best sizes, 10 keyless and 60%. There's no full size option, which is fine, they're not needed. You don't work in a bank or a call center, you don't need a numpad. You're a gamer, you're not a data entry clerk. The Apex 9 is a somewhat standard, no frills looking keyboard, free from the spaceship cockpit designs that sometimes plague gaming keyboards. There are a few extra buttons that you can see on this. You have the volume wheel, and below that, this little fella, which is a play pause media button. There are no other media keys, but they can be added in the software. Due to my laziness, I would prefer them to be integrated by default. For the main board, there's an aluminium top plate, which SteelSeries says is identical to what's used in combat jets. Now, there is a split between the plate and the casing here, which is unfortunate as various gaming related hazards can slip inside here. On my HyperX Origin 60, this area is just one piece, so there's less gaps for cat hairs, crumbs, and pickled onion monster munch to slip inside. This isn't a deal breaker for me, but I would just prefer there to be as little gaps as possible due to the harsh environment that this keyboard sits in. The rest of the construction is plastic, which actually makes this keyboard pretty light. I guess this is a more personal preference, but my Keychron Q2 is around 1.6 kilograms or 3.5 pounds, 56 ounces, or around 8 Big Macs, so it's a hefty size to carry around. This is just 600 grams, or well, actually you can just Google the conversions. I guess maybe 3 Big Macs, give or take. Anyway, the point is this is quite light, so as I am someone that visits offline gamer events, this would be a good selection to take with me, as it's going to be more pleasant to travel with. Continuing with the underside of the keyboard, there's rubber pads for grips. You get some adjustable legs as well, so you can adjust the tilt to your desire. There's also a secret flap that contains the key puller. You can put something else in this if you want. Look, I can fit this channel's entire YouTube earnings in here. Now, moving on to the real meat and gravy of all mechanical keyboards these days, the switches. SteelSeries call these the OptiPoint optical switches. What does optical mean? It uses light to register a keystroke, so when you press down, the light is interrupted and the press is registered. This in theory means there's no accidental triggering, misinputs, debounce or other anomalies, and it will also be super fast. Pulling off the double shot PBT keycaps reveals the switches within, which have Gateron written on them. So these I would assume are based on the Gateron yellow optical switches, or they are the same but SteelSeries have applied some wizardry to make some additional changes to them. These have a 1mm actuation point, so how far you press until it registers. But press the function or SteelSeries logo key plus O or I and you can swap it between gamer mode and typing. Typing mode changes it to a 1.5mm actuation point. In theory, this does mean that you should be able to swap them out for other Gateron optical switches, however I would assume the adjustable actuation point wouldn't be compatible. You want a sound check? Here you go. I'll let you know what I think of the keyboard in terms of use at the end with my verdict, but the low actuation point, I will warn you now, will cause some accidental presses at the start, especially combined with the little force required to actually trigger them. Your muscle memory will eventually sort itself out to reduce this from happening after some time, so you've got an excuse for about a week. For those that love pretty lights, you do get RGB, hooray, it looks alright. It is customizable in the software as well, so for those that are desperate for a keyboard that will match their LEDs for their Poggers gaming room setup, here you go. Why have a personality when 16.8 million colours can be one for you? Continuing on with the software, it's filled with various bindings that you can add to the keyboard in terms of secondary function keys, macros and the like. You can add some media bindings as well, but as mentioned before, I'm very lazy, so I just suffered without them. The layout of the software is actually pretty simple and easy to follow. With quite a few other gaming keyboard software, you get everything just thrown at you at the same time and it gets a bit overwhelming, but this is actually set out pretty well and is easy to use. So what do I think of this keyboard after a week? I kind of like it. Playing games and using it to type on has been okay. I've never swapped between gamer and typing mode though. Well, I did to test it, but I never really felt like I had to swap between them. I got used to the faster actuating switches pretty quickly. I guess maybe the only downside that I can think of this keyboard is that it might be a little bit loud compared to some others, but that's if I'm being very picky. Apart from that, it's a nice keyboard. I can't say that I noticed the speed that SteelSeries refer to. It feels no different to other keyboards that I have used in terms of responsiveness whilst gaming. In comparison to my Origin 60, I would say that is still the better keyboard. It has a higher quality feel to it overall in comparison to the Apex 9. But that's not to say that the Apex 9 isn't good. It is the costlier of the two, costing at around about $140 at the time of this review. However, I can't really fault it apart from the lighter build quality that it comes with. The keyboard did its job for me and it did it well, so if you're on the fence about buying this, I would honestly say it's worth picking up. The fact that I am comparing it closely to the Origin 60 is a good thing, as it's my favourite gaming keyboard that I have used. So this is very close to the best for me, and I would highly recommend getting the Apex 9. If you're wanting to see a review of the HyperX Origin 60, it's on screen now for you to watch.